With the 25th anniversary of the Nike Mercurial Silo coming up, it's only right that we give out a few awards. And we've got a whole host of categories for these awards. Now, the winner of these awards, of course, is just basically solely down to my opinion. And of course, I've not used every single Vapor model, so I'm quite well versed when it comes to like watching reviewers on different football boots, so I'm going to take their opinions into incorporation when giving out these awards. So without further ado, let's go on to the first category, Best Looking Mercurial Model. Now for this award, there can only be one answer in my mind, and the winner is, of course, the Nike Mercurial Vapor 3. Now it might not be the best Mercurial in terms of performance, but when it comes to looks, I don't think any other Mercurial model comes close. I feel this is probably the only Mercurial model where I can say that I would wear every single colorway. It's got this very clean, sleek design, and the graphic of it kind of filtering out from the main colorway to the kind of accent colorway at the back of the heel made the boot look great. But the next few awards are based around the faces of the Nike Mercurial series, and that is of course the Brazilian Ronaldo, El Phenomenal, Cristiano Ronaldo, and currently Kylian Mbappe, and more specifically their best signature colorways. Starting off with R9. Now when it comes to signature colorways, I personally feel like they should almost like personify the player, and I feel none did better than that with the Nike Mercurial Vapor 3 in that yellow and blue black colorway that he got at the 2006 World Cup. Next would be Cristiano's best colorway. Now Cristiano Ronaldo, while his time at Nike Football, has received 31 signature colorways of the Nike Mercurial Vapor or the Nike Mercurial Superfly. And for me, without a shadow of a doubt, number one is the Nike Mercurial Superfly 4 in the rare gold special edition colorway. Ronaldo got this one after winning his third golden boot, and of course, to make it a special edition and give the name rare gold, it had this kind of shimmering black colorway, and Nike only released 333 pairs worldwide. Now last but certainly not least, Kylian Mbappe, the new face of Nike Football and the Nike Mercurial. Now in the short space of time that Mbappe has been sponsored by Nike, he's got quite a few colorways already. But for me, the one that stands out the most has to be the Chosen One colorway in collaboration with LeBron James. That signature color with the Nike Superfly 7 is probably one of the best colorways I've ever seen. It's got that iridescent finish, and of course the Mbappe logo on it as well. For me, a very clean, good looking boot. Now the next award is the most iconic Nike Mercurial colorway. Nike over the years have produced many iconic colorways for the Mercurial Silo. However, for me, and for probably many, one Mercurial colorway stands above all of them. And that of course is the first ever Nike Mercurial, released for Ronaldo ahead of the 98 World Cup in France. Now this boot was probably the most revolutionary boot for many reasons. The colorway, the lightweightness of it at the time relative to the time, and of course the fact it was the first ever speed boot. Now we see all these different boot manufacturers try and strive for the most innovative and groundbreaking boots, and it all started with this iconic colorway. Next we have the best Nike Mercurial advert. Just a preface, these are ads that are only solely about the boot. So ads which actually include the boot but aren't specifically just about the boot do not count, unfortunately. And again, in my opinion, I think one stands above all, and that for me is the Nike Mercurial Vapor 4 advert of Cristiano Ronaldo racing a Bugatti Veyron. And I think this for quite a few reasons. Number one, at its essence, the Mercurial is a speed boot, and nothing really personifies speed like a Bugatti Veyron. For Cristiano Ronaldo to race one in the new Mercurial Vapor 4 and to actually beat the car, it just, typifies what speed is about. Number two, I also feel it kind of marked a transition period for Nike in terms of them changing the face of Nike Football, of it going from the Brazilian Ronaldo to Cristiano Ronaldo. And thirdly, any advert that makes me as an 11-year-old want to race my mum's car because of what I saw on TV definitely should be getting this award. Now the next award is the most underappreciated Nike Mercurial model, and if you follow this channel closely, you know which model I'm talking about. I recently made a video about it, go check it out. And of course it's the Nike Mercurial Vapor 4. Similar to the reasons which I said in the reason why the advert for the 4 was the best, is the same reason I feel like the 4 is the most underappreciated. On top of that as well is the design. I think it's one of the most influential designs when it comes to the Mercurial model, just for future boots, not just for the Mercurial itself. So we're seeing things like the lace cover that was introduced on the 4, the big swoosh that was introduced on the 4, and the 4 was the first Mercurial silo to actually have a model above the actual Vapor itself in the Nike Mercurial Vapor SL. So it's technically kind of like the Superfly before the Superfly. And the next category is the best limited edition Mercurial. Now over the 25 years the Mercurial has been released, there have been several special edition or limited edition models. But this one I'm going to focus on the ones that aren't part of like the kind of main line of boots at the time they were released. I'm talking about boots such as the Green Speed and of course the Carbon SL. sell. But the winner for this award, in my opinion, has to be the Nike Mercurial Flyknit Ultra. I don't think there's been a limited edition Mercurial that's out of the kind of main line of boots that has been as well received as the Flyknit Ultra from a performance standpoint as well as an aesthetic standpoint as well. When it came out in 4 different colorways. You had the blackout, you had the black and red, you had the black and gold, and you had the black and cyan. A lot of people probably associate this boot mostly with Eden Hazard, as he was like kind of the front face that Nike promoted the boot with. I don't think I've ever seen a boot so good that even referees were wearing them as well. Next we have Nike's most innovative Mercurial, and for me there is one clear winner here. This is probably the most high-tech football boot Nike have ever created relative to the time, and that is the Nike Mercurial Superfly 4. When it comes to high-tech football boots, I don't think Nike have made one that's even close to this one. Pretty much all of Nike's innovations rolled into one. Like, it's Nike's equivalent to the Infinity Gauntlet when it comes to football boots. You've got your dynamic fit collar, your Flyknit upper, your carbon fiber sole plate, you've got your flywire cables, and you've got your ACC. It's literally got everything that Nike would put into a football all rolled into one package. Now, performance-wise, it's pretty much an alright boot. It's a bit overrated by some people in my opinion because of the kind of time it was released. But in my opinion, again, it's one of the most innovative football boots Nike have ever created. The whole kind of high top football boot that with the sock, I think it started a kind of revolution. They may have not been the first people to use like knitted uppers in football boots, but they sure were the leaders with the two that they dropped at the same time. And in my opinion, I don't think Nike will ever come close to what they had with Superfly 4 in terms of just innovation and just packing all this stuff into one boot. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because I feel like there are future Mercurials which are better performing football boots in general, but the Superfly 4 kind of led the path for them, you know. The Superfly ran so they could walk. Now, the penultimate award is the best performing Nike Mercurial model. So when I say performance or performing, some of you may not understand. I'm not necessarily talking about how well a player plays inside the boot. I'm talking about the different aspects of the boot. So when you say performance of like a phone, you're talking about battery life, the quality of the camera, yada yada yada. In equivalence with football boots, it'll probably be things like feel for the ball, responsiveness for the sole plate, comfort, fit, those type of things. Now, whether people like it or not, as the years go on, football boots get better. So it doesn't matter if the Superfly 4 is your favorite football boot. The more current models of the Mercurial are pound for pound or objectively better football boots, just because of like the way, you know, innovation and things occur. It doesn't necessarily mean Superfly 4 is a bad boot now, but compared to what we have now, if it was released now, you'd be thinking Nike have been taking a few steps back. Okay, but when it comes to like maybe a few years between the boots, you can say there's a bit of a disparity that you can pick from objectively. That even though newer ones have come out, the previous ones might have still been better. And for those reasons, I kind of feel like the best performing Mercurial model is the Superfly 7 or the Vapor 13. I think the Vapor 13 is pretty much the perfected version of the Superfly 4. And actually, it's pretty much like a perfected version of the Vapor 12 or the previous model, but of like all the combination of the different Flyknit Mercurials, I think the 13, which was actually the last one as well, is probably the most best performing one of all of them. And I say this to say is because it pretty much had everything. It had the comfort, it had the traction, it had the responsiveness, it had the better fit. I think all of those culminating together make it the best performing Mercurial model of all time. And now we have our final award, the best Mercurial model of all time. Now this one will probably raise a lot of eyebrows, but maybe after my justification you might agree with me, you might still disagree with me. Now when I'm talking about this award, the best Mercurial model of all time, I'm not just talking about performance, I'm talking about aesthetics, I'm talking about the relative time it came out, the ads that came with it, also encompassing everything all together. And that for me is the Nike Mercurial Vapor 8. For me, the Vapor 8 encapsulated everything a speed boot should be, and pretty much was probably some of Nike's best work. This is the Vapor model that actually made me fall in love with Mercurials again, because there was a lot of time where I stopped buying Mercurials because of how bad I thought they were, how bad I thought they looked. And in my opinion, the Vapor 8 is a very important Mercurial model for Nike as well. Now for the previous years, Nike, when it came to speed boots, I would say they were second best, because I feel the F50 was far and wide a better boot than the Mercurial was for the previous maybe 3 or 4 versions prior. But when the Vapor 8 dropped, it kind of like reinvented speed boots for Nike. First of all, it was the lightweightness of the boot as well. I remember when I got my pair, I just couldn't believe how lightweight it was. It was a boot that made you feel like running as well. And I was someone who used to do athletics as well. I would say out of all the Mercurial models that have ever existed, this is probably the one that most feels like a athletics or sprinting shoe, if you want to say that. I was a very casual sprinter. My favorite aspect of the boot when it came to performance would have to be, I say, the feel for the ball. Nike used the Teijin synthetic that they used on previous Mercurial Vapor models, but this one was so thin, and then you almost feel like the ball was like stuck to your foot. It was almost like your skin was touching the ball. It was like incredible to play with as well. But when it comes to my favorite Mercurial Vapor 8 colorway, it has to be the Euro 2012 Clash Collection. I think that is the cleanest looking Mercurial out of the model that came out. And there you have it, the Mercurial Awards. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like. If you want to see more videos and like football boots in general, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts. Which awards would you give to each boot? Let me know in the comment section down below. Be sure to follow me on all my socials. And like I always say at the end of videos, my name is Sub. This has been SubStanceFtbl. Thank you for watching. Peace out.